Welcome to this week's Sunday Gospel Reflection. It's Father Jeff from the Oratory here at Holy Trinity in Bridgewater. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to the chief priests and the elders of the people, "Hear another parable. There was a landowner who planted a vineyard, put a hedge around it, dug a wine press in it, and built a tower. Then he leased it to tenants and went on a journey. When vintage time drew near, he sent his servants to the tenants to obtain his produce. But the tenants seized the servants, and one they beat, another they killed, and a third they stoned. Again he sent other servants, more numerous than the first ones, but they treated them in the same way. Finally he sent his son to them, thinking, 'They will respect my son.' But when the tenants saw the son, they said to one another, 'This is the heir. Come, let us kill him and acquire his inheritance.' They seized him, threw him out of the vineyard, and killed him. What will the owner of the vineyard do to those tenants when he comes?" They answered him, "He will put those wretched men to a wretched death and lease his vineyard to other tenants who will give him the produce at the proper times." Jesus said to them, "Did you never read the scriptures? The stone that the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. By the Lord has this been done, and it is wonderful in our eyes. Therefore I say to you, the kingdom of God will be taken away from you and given to a people that will produce its fruit." The Gospel of the Lord. So this Sunday in our Gospel we hear the parable of the tenants. It follows right after the parable of the two sons that we heard last week. And for a little context, Jesus is giving this teaching during what we would think of as Holy Week. After his triumphal entry into Jerusalem and just a couple of days before the Last Supper, his betrayal, his passion, and crucifixion. So there's heightened tension in the air, and Jesus is talking to the people who are plotting to kill him. So he's using, again, the vineyard as a symbol of the kingdom of God. And what he's doing in this parable is he's basically telling us salvation history. God created, and he called people forth to be a part of his kingdom, but they rejected him. And he kept sending them servants, the prophets, to call them back to accountability, to come back and be able to participate and enjoy the fruits of the kingdom. But they rejected the prophets, they killed them. And finally, of course, God, like the owner of the vineyard, sent his son. And Jesus is talking about himself. And they mistreated him and killed him too, saying, if we take him out, we can have the inheritance for ourselves. So this is Jesus telling us about salvation history, telling us about his own story and what is about to happen to him in just a few days. So what is the kingdom of God, after all? The kingdom is present anywhere that God's will is being done. The kingdom is where things are as they should be. And so if we're participating in the kingdom, we're living in right relationship with God, with each other. It's only possible for us through God's grace because of the fall, because of the sin of our first ancestors. We can't live into the kingdom on our own power. We need God's grace to be able to do it. We need to accept Jesus, the Son, whom the Father sends to us to redeem us and to restore us so that we can enjoy the fruits of the kingdom. So the way that we come to be able to experience that is through our life of discipleship, and especially, I think, through imitating Jesus in the way that we care for the people that he seemed to care the most about, which were the poor, the marginalized, the forgotten, the mistreated. These were the people that he specially reached out to, those who had no one to speak up for them. This Sunday is Respect Life Sunday, and so it's an opportunity for us to give witness to our conviction about the dignity and value of human life, to defend the vulnerable, to defend the voiceless, especially, of course, those who are not born, but also those who are elderly, those who have disabilities, and all those who find themselves vulnerable because they can't defend themselves. So this is a way in which we show forth the fruit of the kingdom, the way that we show our fidelity to be able to enjoy the fruitfulness of the kingdom is to live as Jesus lived in reaching out to and defending those who are most in need and most vulnerable. So we take this opportunity on this Respect Life Sunday not only to pray, but also to think about how we have opportunities in our own lives to bear witness to our conviction about the dignity of human life and to help defend those who have no voice.